All right. Very good morning. Very good evening. We already passed 5 more minutes. Good to start at this time. Right. Welcome you all to this database course. Basically, rather than database course, I used to call it as a database workshop. Basically, like whatever the the course curriculum is formed, because by this time already you have gone through the course curriculum. If not, then I'm gonna brief you entire course curriculum in a few minutes. So this entire course curriculum, whatever I formed here, will be demonstrated with a live example in our lab environment. We will be getting in and then we will be showing each and every topic and each and every activity. Everything will be demonstrated with a live example. So because of that fact, I used to call this as a workshop rather than the course, because anyone can teach just going through the PPT and then presenting the syllabus and then covering the topics. That's not what I teach. My way of teaching is show in live hands-on demonstration, so that along with me, you can also do the same hands-on and then practice that one. Then only that makes more perfect. Once you do a particular topic with the hands-on experience, that will be long lost and you'll never forget that particular topic. So that's why I always prefer to do a practice, and then I'll believe in practicing makes you more confidence and give you more knowledge on that particular topic. That's the agenda behind why I call this particular course as a workshop rather than just a database course. Right. So what I'm gonna cover uh, today and tomorrow are going to be two demo sessions for this particular database course. Whatever the course I'm gonna start it today and tomorrow are going to be two demo classes, and then both are I'm gonna cover a few of the basics of the database. Along with that, I'll be covering the course curriculum, course content, and other stuffs. And then followed by, once these demonstrations are done, so starting with Monday, we'll be covering the actual course for the registered student, right? So each and every batch, there will be limited students will be taken into, and once the batch registration is closed, so we'll not be taking any further more admission. And interestingly, this time, uh, we are almost at the nearing to the closing of this particular current batch, because we got many students well in advance. And good part with that is they already started watching the previous batch recordings and they are well ahead of this particular scheduled course. So that's a great learning. So so that once they all watch those previous batch recordings and they will be well prepared, and when I start this particular course from Monday onwards, they will ask more questions during the live classes, and it will be more interactive and they'll clarify more doubts, and then the sessions will be more two-way directions rather than I am teaching and you are listening. So this time it's a brilliant part is that many students are already registered well in advance and they already got access. They're all going through the recordings. Probably I'm very much excited. Starting with Monday, the sessions are going to be more uh, interactive and expecting more questions from all the students. Right. So that's a good part, because so far once the demo sessions are over, many students used to register, but this time, as I said, almost we are closing the registration process because we already got so many students well in advance. Right. Having said that, let's continue for today and tomorrow. What is the agenda? What is I'm gonna talk today and tomorrow? What is I'm gonna cover it? So four or five important points. This batch, I'm gonna talk about that. What is that important aspects? But now, what I'm gonna cover today, uh, I'll start with the introduction about me, and then followed by course curriculum and the course duration and fee structure, and followed by the actual class and Google Drive link and the actual Zoom sessions, and then followed by some of the prerequisites and some important concept under this database architecture. So that these are the topics we're going to cover it for today and tomorrow. With that, first I'm going to start with the introduction about me. So many people or many students have pinged me from last 1 week or so, asking who is going to train, uh, who is going to teach. Is that going to be recorded sessions we are playing on that actual classes, or is there any other instructor teaching? There's so many questions are asked to me, but remember, uh, there are no other instructors. It is only me. I'm the one who is gonna teaching you this particular course. And at the same times, I got many requests or many questions again from the many people saying that what all other courses I'm teaching and can we enroll all of them? So the fact is, I'm not teaching and all the database courses like uh, database, rack, Golden Gate, OEM, Oracle Exadata, Supercluster. There's so many Oracle courses. Oracle is a huge, and we cannot learn everything. So I'm not teaching all of them. With my fashion and my interest, I'm teaching only two courses as of now: database course and the rack course. So because these are the two fundamental backbone for any DBAs, first we need to learn database course, and then followed by you should run the rack course, and after that you can learn whatever you want. You want to learn OEM, you want to learn Golden Gate, you want to learn EBS, you want to learn OBI, SOA, you want to learn Exadata, you want to learn Supercluster, whatever you want to learn, that is all, advanced sessions, and it's based upon your interest and based upon your career path, you're going to choose it. But what is backbone and what is mandatory for all the DBAs? The database and rack. So without that, you cannot survive or you cannot sustain in any of those fields or any of this career. Whether you want to go with Oracle Cloud, or whether you want to go with uh, Oracle EBS, or whether you want to go with Oracle Exadata, whatever the career focus or career path you choose, but your database and the racks are mandatory. These are the only two courses I'm teaching, and I'm your instructor. I'm not hiring anyone to teach on behalf of me. So believe me on that. So that's where many people are interested to join my course, and they will happily participate on this particular course and then take up this course. Right. So that is one thing clarify to everyone. So I'm your instructor. There's no other third person to I'm hiring anyone other person to teach. Right. With clarifying that doubt, coming to me, I am having uh, hope like you all aware about me, and then you already gone through my YouTube channel and my blog post and so many other things. So I'm having around 15 years of experience in this IT industry. Uh, I worked pretty much almost all the sectors, insurance, finance, e-commerce, all those sectors, almost like 4 5 major domains. I already worked on those domains, and participate in the major implementation activities like entire data center build for one of the insurance sector. I have built entire data center from the scratch, and one of the finance sector, one of the finance company. So we built, no, sorry, we migrated their entire data center from Washington DC to New Jersey. So these are like two major projects what I taken a leadership, and then uh, I had driven that entire two major project in my career. And along with that, this whatever the normal activity, setting up of rack, data guard, Golden Gate, setting up of Exadata machines, and supercluster and Oracle Cloud, all are like common activities for me. Like I worked seamlessly on these areas. Right. So these are my overall 15 years of experience, worked on uh, majority of these sectors, insurance, finance, and e-commerce. And uh, in these 15 years, I worked for many organizations, started with my graduation with iGet Global Solutions, and followed by Oracle India Private Limited. and EXA group of companies, and Wipro, and then so many other companies. So worked on various organizations on all these 15 years. And then with that, what is my strength? What is my major areas of expertise? So in this entire 15 years, I focused only dedication to the Oracle word, only the Oracle product, and I learned all the Oracle, almost many Oracle products. I started with the database and core database and rack expert and golden gate and data guide expert, and followed by, and in Oracle word, Oracle product itself, I went into some application part side, that is Oracle EBS, Oracle OBI, Oracle PeopleSoft. I worked on that application side, and also I worked on this Oracle Cloud, and followed by I worked on all the majority of engineering systems. Again, you might have heard or you might have did a Google or some research. What is Oracle engineering systems? Oracle provides a lot of engineering systems like Exadata, Supercluster, Exalogic, so many other things. I worked on all these engineering systems, Exadata, Supercluster, and Exalogic, and ODA, and JDLRA. So there's so many, these are few of them I worked, and there's so many other engineering systems. Yeah, but these are majority of them which I worked on the engineering system side. And this is my Oracle word knowledge. And with that, many people ask me, with the cloud is booming, which cloud to learn? And as a DBA in the other market, the DevOps is very, very mandatory for all the developers. And how about DBAs? Can I learn DevOps? Can I learn any of the cloud? So these are the common questions many people will ask me. And what is my thought on that? What I have been done in that areas. So since this entire 15 years, I'm dedicated, focused on Oracle product and learn all of this. And I also expanded my knowledge in the cloud areas, and I learned Oracle Cloud end to end and supported many customers. And once I learned this Oracle Cloud, and switching to other cloud technology is very easy. So within few days, I'm able to acquire AWS and Azure, all the cloud technologies without any issue. You have to learn one cloud technologies. Once you learned it, and switching or acquiring the other cloud knowledge is very simple. So that's where you need to focus on that. Either you can learn AWS or Azure or Oracle Cloud, doesn't matter. That's a mandatory things because that is going to be future focus. You have to learn one of the cloud technologies. Once you learn that, you immediately switch to other cloud technology without any issue because underlying architecture or underlying fundamental concepts are remain same irrespective of whatever the cloud it is. Right. So I learned along with Oracle Cloud, I learned AWS and Azure and also worked on one or two projects. And then coming to this DevOps, many people ask, can I learn DevOps? That is also going to be one of the big in market. Again, there is no hard and fast rule whether you want to learn or not learn, whether it is going to useful for your career, how much you're going to use it for your day-to-day activities. So I also learned some of the DevOps concepts, but not complete package. I learned few of the DevOps concept like I learned Kubernetes, I learned Ansible, I learned Terraform, I learned this Perl scripting. So why I learned this with help of this scripting and Ansible and with this Kubernetes and cookbooks and chefs, I am able to do some of the DBA day-to-day activities automation. So that made my life easy. So you have to think, we have to apply those third process, whatever you're going to learn, whether it's going to helpful for my day-to-day activities, whether it's going to helpful for my long career path. So you have to think and you have to apply those logic, and based upon that, you have to choose the course and then take that particular path, right? So why I'm telling, in certain days, right? Even for me, when I was working for one of the migration project from one data center to other data center, we are entire rebuilding for one of the insurance company. There I, got a chance to learn this Informatica, Informatica and Erwin data modeling. So I learned that one Informatica tool and Informatica admin concept, but that is limited to only that particular project. So I don't have any other choice to say no or reject that, because in order to continue with my current ongoing project, the migration project, that tool and that concept is very much necessary for me. And then went ahead with my interest. I learned that one. I used that concept for my project, and then I succeeded in that migration project. And later, will that Informatica technology help for me for further my career path? No, that did not. Right. So that's where you need to think whether you are going to invest your time and effort and money to learn something, and in order to do that one, whether that technology is gonna helpful for my longer career path or not. If yes, then go ahead and then pursue that with your interest. If not, it is just for namesake I'm learning, then don't do that one, because once you learn it today, you'll forget it tomorrow. So there's no use of that. But there's certain situation, as I said, I was doing that migration project. As part of that migration project, for me to learn that Informatica is mandatory and necessary, and then I don't have any other choice. I went ahead and learned it, I used it, and then now if ask, like I don't know, I forgot. Even I need to go back, and then I need to brush up everything to get back on track with that particular concept. Right. So that's how it is. All depends upon how much you're interested and how much that is going to be benefited for your day-to-day activities, for your career path. Based upon those two criteria, you can choose whatever technologies you want to learn and learn that, because nobody is stopping you. You can learn anything. You can learn cloud, you can learn DevOps, you can learn any application part, or you can learn any of the database backend part, and doesn't matter. As long as it is helping you for your career growth, you can go for that. Right. So that is about me. This is about my entire 15 years of careers and dedicated for all the Oracle products, almost all the areas I worked on that Oracle products. Along with that, some other uh, technologies also I worked. Like as I said, this cloud technologies and this DevOps technologies. Those are like other secondary skills I have acquired. And on top of that, if somebody asked me, is that the Oracle database is going to be forever in the market, and how sure that we're going to be sustained in the market? And believe me, Oracle is a giant. Oracle, no other database can beat Oracle. Oracle is there for so many decades, and many enterprise business who's concerned about security and this ransomware risk and the cyber attack, only those enterprise customers choose Oracle, because nobody can hack or nobody can break Oracle databases. Oracle database, the security and the complexity provided by Oracle is no other database can provide. Any other databases easily can be hacked by some hacker, or anything, any ransomware can attack easily for any other database. For Oracle database, believe me, nobody can able to hack it because of that complexity and because of that robust security provided by Oracle. Nobody can able to hack it, and most of the 99% enterprise customer willing to pay for Oracle and then stay with Oracle, and this Oracle database technology will be going forever in further more many decades. There's no way that Oracle is going to be vanished from the market. No way at all. All right, that's about the Oracle. And then, so that's a majority of the thought why I stick to Oracle. And then I'm gonna stick to Oracle, and going forward in my future also, I'm gonna be stick to Oracle, and I continue my journey with Oracle word itself. And with that, did I stop my knowledge, or did I stop my learning and limited to Oracle product only? No. I also learned many other database products. I worked and I learned and worked two or three projects for MS SQL, and I worked on PostgreSQL and MySQL and DB2, IBM DB2 and SAP HANA. I worked on many of these database technologies. Many projects I worked for many customers. Those are my secondary database skills. So I never tell that, IBM DB2 is my primary skills, SAP HANA is my primary skill, or my MS SQL is my primary skill. Those are my secondary skills, secondary database skills I learned and I worked on 3-4 projects, and then I'm continuing to carry those. But Oracle is my primary database skills. I'm continuing to journey with Oracle database itself for my future or whatever the future projects. And if there's a project that needs any other database technologies, I'm happy and willing to learn. Because once you learn one database technologies, you can easily switch or you can easily adopt the other database technologies. It's all about SQL queries, and just you need to understand the basics architecture, how it works, and then that's it. Like you're able to acquire that particular database skill, right? So that's all about your instructor. That's me, my entire journey of this 15 years of IT industry experience. And then with that experience, with that 15 years of IT experience as a DBA, what is needed for a client? If I want to work for a client as a DBA, what are my day-to-day activities? What are my weekly activities? What are my monthly activities? What are my yearly activities? And what is needed for DBA to support any client? All those day-to-day activities combined together and formed this particular this particular uh, database course. Rack course is a separate. As I said, I'm teaching only two courses, database and rack. So probably I already started rack course last week. You might have already gone through the demo sessions. If not, I request you to go back and watch those demo sessions. I covered many things on that. So that's a rack. Anyone interested to learn or come to the DBA world, first they have to learn the database course, followed by rack course. So I'm talking about now the database course. That's the basic fundamentals. Once that is learned, you have to switch your or you have to enhance your career into rack. Once the rack is done, you have to go for other path, like as I said, Exadata, EBS, or OPI, or so many other technologies like Oracle Cloud, AWS Cloud, and so many other paths you will get it. But database and rack are core fundamental, right? So with this 15 years of experience, I formed this particular database course curriculum. So as a DBA, if I want to work for any client, what is needed, right? So everything in my entire 15 years of entire this 15 years of experience, what is needed to support a particular client day-to-day activities, and everything will be formed and put together into this particular course curriculum. And I'm going to brief you, go over that entire course curriculum here. That course curriculum link is over here. You can feel free to go over them. Right. And meantime, uh, you are all allowed to unmute yourself and ask any questions or queries if you have it. Or you can use this chat window here. You can post your any questions or queries. I'll be monitoring it. I'm happy to take these questions and then answer it on that spot itself. Because that rather than I'm explaining and you're listening, I'm happy to take it in two directions. I want to make this as a interactive, and then if you're willing to join this particular course, and you can open and ask your any questions, queries, and clarify your doubt before take up this particular course. Right. So with that, before I go with this course curriculum, I can see one question here. What are the roles and responsibilities? Again, what are the roles and responsibilities? This particular course curriculum will explain you. These are the roles and responsibilities for DBS. The DBA roles and responsibilities is not day-to-day activities, or not weekly activities, not monthly activities, not yearly activities. DBA activities is everything. DBA is going to do everything, whatever we are going to cover in this particular course. That's all
Hi,
DBA activities.
hi Malik. Good morning.
Very good morning.
Yeah, actually, do you have the same the course in the only one time in a day, or do you have any other batches running in the same day?
It's only
Eh,
one time. It's
Only
only
one
one time.
time.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, okay. Because we are joining from the Middle East. Actually, I'm joining from the Middle East.
No,
Uh,
we don't have alternative timings. This is the only timings. I'm gonna cover on that timing part in a few
is it
minutes.
okay?
Yeah.
There's no other choice to just shifting to 1 hour after or something like.
Right now, this timing, whatever let's go on that one. This is actually demo classes, what we are covering here today. And the course is gonna start from the 16th October, coming Monday onwards. And the timing pretty much same. Whatever 8 AM IST to 10 AM IST, that's the timing is gonna be remain same. And in EST time zone, it will be 10:30 p.m. to 12:30 a.m. That's a midnight for EST time zone, Eastern time zone. But yeah, this is the fixed timing, and if that can be adjusted 30 minutes here and there, that can be discussed in the group for with permission to the all the registered students. We can make 30 minutes here and there, but pretty much timings are same and the dates are same. We are not we're not taking any other alternative time or alternative sessions. But with that, we have everyday sessions will be recorded, right? And then in case you are not able to join or join little late, so you can watch that recording. And then those recordings also will be available for lifetime access, and you can watch it anytime.
Yes, yes. If you can just delay it for another half an hour to 1 hour, it will be better so that
Let's see,
we
we'll think on that.
if possible.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. There's one more questions. Oracle process installation on Linux and Windows. It is purely based upon Linux, not on Windows. That is one of the prerequisites. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Before that, let's continue. All these questions will be answered further here. Let's quickly have a glance on the course curriculum. Right. The course curriculum, I'm not going to brief each and everything here. I'll just read out the main content. We're going to set up the environment. Again, I'm not going to talk about what is that environment, how, and all those things. Environment setup means it will involve everything. And few of the points I have not mentioned here, but everything will be covered as part of this course. So we'll start with the environmental setup, followed by the networking, understanding networking, clarification, and the DNS, DHCP, so many networking concept here, including basics of some of the Linux part. So this 1 and 2 include some of the basics of Linux and networking and other stuffs as well here. And the third one, installation of software. So we're gonna show the demonstration of the installation of 19C. Along with that, we're gonna compare 11G and 12C. What is the difference between your 11G installation and 12C installation and 19C installation? And again, that installation, whether you are going to go with a manual method using a silent mode or using a command line or GUI mode, UI based. So we're going to show the demo on the UI based, and the command line will be giving you the some slides and the scripts. You can practice on that command line without GUI mode. So both you can practice it out, right? We'll show demo on the GUI based installation, and I'm going to show it on the 19C one. At the same time, I'm going to show you some slides and comparison between 11G and 12C. You can try the manual installation and then compare your 11G and 12C installation so that you will understand, okay, what all changes happened between 11G to 12C to 19C. Right, and then followed by, we'll start with the Oracle home installation and database creations, and then understanding of the architecture. So we'll understand the architecture from the 11G to 12C, 12C to 19C. And again, why we are covering 11G and 12C, even though this course talks about 19C, we need to understand what all changes are happened between 11G to 12C, 12C to 19C. And also we have a separate chapter for this 12C and 19C new features. So that's going to make you the complete package, right? What all changes are happened, how it is evolved from 11G to 12C and 12C to 19C. So we'll be covered all this aspect. And then we'll start with the administration part, how we're going to administrate your HGA, PGA, how we're going to administrate your table spaces, data files, SP files, redo log files, control files, and archive log files, and followed by your the storage structure, your data blocks, segment, extents, and table spaces, and then how I can increase my table space size, how I can add my data files, and how I can create my users, how I can grant them permissions, privileges. All these are like, your admin classes. And followed by the very interesting one, ASM. So again, believe me, ASM is going to be future again. Oracle strongly recommends run your database on ASM storage, not on your local storage, NFS or SAN or NAS. Don't run your database on that local storage. Always run your database on the ASM. So we'll understand ASM architecture, ASM administration, ASM installation, ASM storage, how you can create your database inside your ASM storage, how you can manage your files inside ASM storage, and how you can create your disk groups, data disk group, record disk group, FRA disk group in the ASM, and then how you can add the space, how you can manipulate them, how you can add a disk, drop a disk. So ASM is going to be again very vast. So we're going to cover ASM architecture, ASM administration, and followed by multi-tenant architecture, CDBs and PDBs. So starting with 21C onwards, there is no normal database concept. Everything is CDBs and PDB, multi-tenant container architecture. So that is one thing we're going to cover here. So multi-tenant CDBs and PDBs. So that will be covered end to end. So CDB, PDB architecture and how you're going to connect to CDB, how you're going to connect to PDB, common user, common role, local role, and then how you can create a listeners on CDBs and PDBs and TNS entries for CDBs and PDBs, how you can connect to your CDBs and PDBs, how you can clone your PDBs, how you can clone your CDBs, how you can take a backup of them. So all will be covered, right? And followed by networking. Again, networking covers everything: listener, TNS, and connectivity, and passwords, password file, all those issues. And user management, again, roles, privileges, permissions, and then duplicating the users, creating one user similar to other privilege, other user, whatever the privileges he has it, replicate them. So all those actions here. And user profiles, user quota, permissions, all will be covered here. And then these are like your backups and recoveries. So RMAN backup and traditional backup and restores and recoveries and your control file restore, your data file restore, your redo log restore, your archive log restore, and your data single individual data file restore. And you want to clone, you have production database, I want to clone, create a new database, duplicate copy of that. RMAN active database duplicate, RMAN duplicate from the backup. So many things will be covered, only backups and recoveries here, because backups and recoveries are going to be one of the common activity for DBS. He has to do daily backups and make sure that daily backups are successful. If any of the backups are fails, you will be in a risk, because any disaster happens or any crash happens on your production database, your backups are the one are going to be mandatory things to rebuild your database back. So make sure that your backups are going to be one of the critical aspects. Make sure that you have to set up your strong backup strategy, your level 0 backup, level 1 backup. Every Sunday you can set up level 0 backup, and every weekdays you can set up level 1 incremental or differential backup. What is this incremental backup? What is this differential backup? We're going to cover that. And then how you can create your own script for level 0 and level 1 and then put them into automated cron job, so that every day midnight 12 o'clock backups will start automatically. When the backups are done, automatically it's gonna send us an email alert, backup is successful or not. So all that automation also we can tweak that one. That will be covered as part of the cell scripting here. How you can automate your tasks, not only backup tasks, any of the monitoring day-to-day activities, you can schedule them via cron job, and then in anything goes wrong, you can email alert that. Like monitoring your listener, monitoring your databases. If database or listener goes down, automatically trigger an email alert to your team so that you can immediately take action. So that is a small automation. We can make use of the cell scripting and make our DBA day-to-day life easy by making small automations. So we're going to talk about this backups and how we can make them automate. Along with that, some of the daily task automation, and followed by the patching. Patching is going to be one of the common activities. There's so many, I just mentioned few of them here. PSU, CPU, bundle patch, one-off patch, merge patch, interim patch, overlay patch, online patch, hot patch. So again, doesn't matter whatever the name they call it as. For DBA, it's just a patch. We're going to apply it. If you understand the basic fundamental concept, how you're going to apply the patch, that's it. So whatever the name they will call it, I'm able to handle that patch. And then upgradation. You can upgrade your database from 11G to 19C, 12C to 19C. There are various methods: silent method, manual method, uh, GUI, using DBA method, using 19C new feature that is called auto upgrade, or using a command line, or using a Perl script. There's so many different methods to do a database upgrade. We're going to cover all of them. Right, and then the data guard setup. For the primary, you're going to set up a standby and monitor your log shipping, and a lot of simulation. We're going to do that, switch over, failover, and if there's a gap between primary and standby, how we can make it sync, and all those activities will be covered here. And followed by chapter number 20, export, import, the logical component like table space level. You want to export and then import it from production table to your development database. As particular table or schema, you can export and import. We'll cover that export and import, and how we can improve that performance. All will be discussed here. And then chapter number 21 is about the new features, right? So what are the, like, there will be hundreds or thousands of new features in each of these versions. 12C, there's hundreds of new features. 19C, hundreds of new features. But what are most important critical one? We'll be listing it out around 10, 15, so that we can use them for day-to-day activities. And then some of the performance tuning, AWR report, ADDM report, ASH report, and then as part of those report, once you analyze that, what are your recommendation? Rebuilding index, gather stats, and your SQL profiling, and table move, table shrink, and getting the execution plan, how you can read the execution plan, how you can compare that execution plan. So that's all about your chapter number 22 and 24, 25, about your performance tuning and how you can provide the suggestion for any query slowness. And then followed by chapter number 26 is resume and cover letter. Because once you complete your course, so you should be able to write a strong resume and then get a new job or new opportunity. So we're gonna go over my own resume, and then we're gonna talk about that, how you can build your resume and cover letter, and followed by the sample interview questions and answers. We'll be discussing about the questions and answers, and then mock interview. It is subjected to everyone interest. It's not mandatory things. The mock interview like one to one. So you have to register for this mock interview. I'll be connecting with you, and then I'll be conducting a, it's kind of a real-time interview. I'll be asking the questions, and you will be able to, attend that particular live interview, so that if you make any mistakes, and if there's small, uh, you're not able to answer that particular question and how you could have made it better, I'm gonna make a note of that, all the mistakes, and then I'll be providing some suggestions or the hints at the end of this particular mock interview. Again, this is not mandatory one, but it is subjected to everyone interest. That will be end of the course. Right. So this is high level, right? So there are so many other things also covered, but not included over here. Right. For example, I just mentioned here, well, let's go with the data guard. I just mentioned just data guard. So we're going to talk about all type of data guards: the physical standby, and snapshot standby, and logical standby, and then different modes of your standby database: maximum performance, maximum availability, and all those things, and switch over and failover. And if production and standby, there will be a lot of archival or gap, how we can apply it, how we can make your DR sync, and then how you can convert your physical standby to snapshot standby, from snapshot standby to physical standby, how you can convert them, and then how you can make switchover, make your primary as a standby and standby as a primary. So there will be so many things. I just mentioned one high level heading, but a lot of things will be covered as part of this particular course. Great. I'm gonna put some pause here. I'll take some specific questions which are posted over here in the chat. And meantime, anyone has any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and ask your questions and clarify here. Right. One important questions asked here is any guidance on certificate? Definitely. So I have not listed out over here. That is again part of our resume writing and cover letter preparation. We are going to cover the certification path. What all the certifications and what all you need to prepare and how to register for that, how much is the fees for that certification. So that all will be covered at the end of this particular course. The certifications will be covered along with the resume and cover letter preparation. That's a mandatory thing. So any DBA, we used to call it as earlier OCA and OCP certificates. But now in 19C, we call it as the Admin 1 and Admin 2 certificate. Those are very much mandatory for any DBA to have those certificate. Then only your resume will be having more weightage or more advantages in the market. If you don't have those certificates, your resume getting shortlisted is very, very tough. If you have a resume and resume contains that certificate logos, your resume will get shortlisted in first place in the market when you apply for any job. Right. So certificates are very, very important. Yes, we're gonna cover that one. What exam you need to appear and which exam you're gonna complete, all those things. Right. So what about OEM? So OEM will not be covered and Golden Gate will not be covered. And there are a lot of these are like advanced topics. Oracle Wallet and Oracle licensing, and uh, you have so many other stuff, right? Like these are like advanced concept, not part of the database course. So there are a few pre-recorded sessions, especially for Oracle Wallet, OEM, and so many other stuffs, which are like pre-recorded. Probably I can share those links. You can go through them. But having said that, it's not limited over here. After end of the course, if anyone interested in any particular topic, let's post it in our WhatsApp group so that based upon my availability and my free time, I'm going to prepare the content. I'm going to come up with some of the slides and then some of the demonstrations. I'm happy to take those as extra sessions. For example, OEM alert configuration or Oracle wallet configuration or Oracle OCI cloud demonstration, how to log in. So these are like, extra topics. Probably I'm happy to take it, but that will be end of the course anytime based upon my availability. I'm happy to take all those extra advanced topics based upon everyone's availability or the time, right? Uh, there's one more question. Is there any specific education background they want to get a job in Oracle? Okay. Uh, Again, education background, as I said, like there is no hard and fast rule. You have to complete your degree in bachelor engineering. You have to complete your degree in diploma engineering. You have to complete your degree in master degree. There is no specific rule. It's all about the company, which company you are attending, and whether that company has a strong guidelines. Anyone wanted to join that company, the company will put some criteria. So any candidate want to join us, he has to be minimum 10 plus 2 passed. He has to minimum degree holder. He has to minimum master degree holder. The company is going to put that criteria. Based upon that criteria, they're gonna, you know, filter it out. While applying, you applied the job position, but you are not having any degree, and then your resumes get rejected at that place itself. It is not about the job which is going to hold you. It's a company who has made that rule or the policy in that company that that is going to make your resume get rejected at that place. Right. Uh, yeah, that's about the course curriculum. So again, this course is formed based upon my experience, based upon my 15 years of experience. What is needed for DBA, I formed this particular course. As a DBA, if I want to work as a DBA for any client, These are all the mandatory things I should be aware of. And based upon my experience, I formed this particular course. And anything need to be added, one or two extra topics, feel free to, once you register for my course, feel free to give suggestions or post in our WhatsApp group. So I'm happy to add those topics. Probably pretty much everything covered, but here and there, if one or two topics I missed, we'll be happy to add those topics in this course. Right. So that is about the course curriculum. And coming back to course duration and the course timing and course fee structure, again, the course duration is going to be 45 days. Pretty much within 45 days, we're able to complete it. But yeah, assuming that maximum 45 days, it can go. And the timing is, as I said, it's as we just discussed, it's a fixed timing as of now, 8 a.m. IST to 10 a.m. IST. In Eastern time zone, it will be 10:30 p.m. EST to 12:30 a.m. EST, 2 hours every day. It will be of Monday to Friday. It's a weekdays batch, only Monday to Friday. This is the only timings we are conducting this course. There's no alternative timings or there's no weekend batch for this particular database course. And as I said, this is going to be paid training. The course fee is 10,000 Indian rupees. That will be of 125 US dollar. And the mode will be online over a Zoom session. And version of Oracle will be 19C version. We'll be covering under 19C version.
Yeah, hi Malik. Sorry to interrupt.
Yep.
Yeah, you have mentioned the course duration as 45 days. So that includes the weekend or excluding weekend?
Including weekends.
Including weekends, 45 days.
Starting with Monday, within 45 days, we're gonna able to complete.
Definitely.
Right.
End of November, this course will get complete, right?
Probably, let's say, what is this? Okay, 12th, end of November, yes.
16th we are starting now, just mid.
Yep. Yes, end of November, we're able to complete. That's correct. Right. So that is about the course duration, course timing, and the fee structure. And then actual class is going to start by this coming Monday. Because today and tomorrow are just a demo sessions. I just get my calendar here. The Thursday, 12th of October and 13th of October, two of them are just a demo sessions, and followed by Saturday and Sunday no classes. And Monday is the 16th of October, we're going to start this particular course. By end of November, we're able to complete this course. And again, timings are remain same, 2 hours every day, Monday to Friday. And then if at all anyone not able to join this batch and they're looking for a new slot, and I'll go back and then check our blog, new upcoming sessions or whatever the new slots. But right now, this is the upcoming session. I'm gonna post the when will be the next batch, so you can follow that. Right. And coming back, that's about the course durations, course timing, and the fee structure. And then if anyone interested to continue with this course and willing to make a payment, feel free to get in touch with me. You can reach out to me over email or over WhatsApp. I'm gonna post it here in the chat, or you might have already. You can go ahead and get it from my YouTube channel or blog or whatever, my email ID or phone number. You can drop me an email, or you can call me on my cell number, or you can ping me on my WhatsApp for any further registration, how you can make a payment, and what is the further steps to continue with this particular course. You can feel free to ping me on my WhatsApp or call me or drop me an email, mallikarjun.ramadurg@gmail.com, or on my cell number +919880616848. I'm happy to guide you further process on that. Right. And going further, the Google Drive access. Right now, somebody asked a question here in the chat. Are there any recordings for these classes? Yes, that's what I'm coming now. We'll be getting a 4 links. One is the database course material. If I can get my, okay, this is my first link, Google Drive link, you're going to get it, where you'll see all the course materials, all the PPTs, workbook, lab exercise, all the ready machines, ready VMs, and so many other stuffs will be available on the first Google Drive link. You will be getting the access on that. Second Google Drive link is other information. If I can go to other information, where you can see some of the tools for needed for DBAs and some of the monitoring and automation shell script, interview questions and answers and softwares and so many other things. That is your second link, second Google Drive access you'll be getting. And the third Google Drive link will be for the previous batch recording. So if I go here, these are my previous batch recordings. So pretty much almost like we got few students registered last 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and they already got access on the previous batch recordings. They are all just watching this. So good part about this is like whatever I'm explaining here, right? Like startup and shutdown sequence and static and dynamic parameter and the password file. When I'm explaining the sessions, everyday sessions will be recorded and uploaded to Google Drive. And along with the sessions, whatever I'm gonna cover, whatever the command I'm typing it on the my machine. So whatever you are seeing here, these are my machines here. So whatever I'm practicing it on my machines here, the same command, the output will be copied. Whatever I am typing on my notepad, everything will be copied over here. When you are watching the recordings, you just need to open this notepad, download this notepad, and then you watch the sessions. Parallelly, you can practice these commands. So that
Hi,
is the
Malik.
easiest way to practice it. In case if you miss any of the session, everyday sessions will be recorded on the same day and then uploaded to Google Drive. You can watch the recordings. Parallelly, you can refer the command line, whatever I'm typing it, so that you can also practice it.
Yeah,
So
Malik, one doubt.
one second, I'll
Uh,
come back to that point. Give me a second.
Okay.
So that is about your a third link. What I'm talking about is the previous batch recordings. You'll be getting a previous batch recording. At the same time, you'll be getting this current batch recording. Everyday sessions will be recorded and uploaded. But why I'm giving this previous batch recordings? It's the same recordings of the previous classes, but you can watch the recordings well in advance and then prepare yourself and come for the live classes so that you can have a lot of questions and queries and you can ask many doubts during the live classes so that it'll be more interactive. So you'll be getting the previous batch recordings as well as current batch recordings. And along with the recordings, you'll be getting that the notepads where I am running whatever the command on my labs. So same command you can practice it when you're watching the recording. That is one of the advantages. And all these 4 links are available in the Google Drive links, and these will be accessible for lifetime. There's no restriction on that. Even these recordings and these materials, you can go ahead and then download it locally on your laptop. Just go ahead and download it. No restriction at all. Right? So that's the advantages of Google Drive links. Right. Go ahead. Somebody has a question.
Yeah, that's what how long it will be after the course completion. We shall we get the access to these videos or classes for future
Just
references?
mentioned, right? It's all lifelong
Yeah,
access, no
you
restriction at
answered
all.
my question. Thank you.
Right.
Anytime we can access, right?
Right.
Thank you.
Right. And then what else? What extra? So that is about the Google Drive. What extra? So these links, whatever the Zoom link, what we are using now, it's a demo link valid for only today and tomorrow. And the actual Zoom link for the registered students who made a payment and all those things will be getting a new Zoom link, new meeting ID, new classroom ID. Starting with Monday, we'll be using the same Zoom link for this entire course. And this is for the demo link. We'll need for only today and tomorrow. The new Zoom link will be shared in the WhatsApp group. So WhatsApp group is nothing but for the registered student who had made a payment. Everyone are added to WhatsApp group. I think by this time, all the registered students might have got access on the Google Drive, and you already started watching the previous batch recording from last 1 or 2 weeks. And any communications, any questions or queries will be discussed in the WhatsApp group. So it is not necessarily about this particular course. Even you are working for any client and you got some task or some assignment and you are stuck with that, feel free to use our WhatsApp group and you can post your questions over there so that I am there to help you. Or if anyone already come across that, worked on that, they're gonna respond you back with answer. If nobody is answering, I'll be there to answer that one, help you on that, not only for this particular course, even for your day-to-day activities. You're working for any client, you need some suggestion or help, I'm happy to help on that. You always use our WhatsApp group for any help. Don't ping me one-to-one rather than use our WhatsApp group, because whatever the question you have, it may be in someone's minds as well. Rather than everyone pinging one-to-one, use our dedicated WhatsApp group. This is only for the registered student, right? So these are like dedicated close group of 20 or 30 students, and you can exchange your messages, you can ask any questions, queries and clarify each other, and use this group for even after completion of the course. Use this WhatsApp group to continue further discussion with your day-to-day activities. And if you're stuck with any of the task in your organization, and post it over there, anyone can answer or else I can answer. And these are like again lifetime accessible WhatsApp group even after completion of
Nawaf,
the course. Guys, if you not talking, please go on a mute. That will be disturbing for everyone. Right. So this WhatsApp group is lifetime accessible. Even after completion of the course, you can use this group, and you are working for any client, you can post any questions. If you are stuck with any task in your organization and you need some help, use our WhatsApp group. So this is the dedicated WhatsApp group, close people of 20 or 30 students, where you will be like getting a valid answers. And if nobody is answering, I'll be there to help you and then make use of this dedicated WhatsApp group. Right. What else then? Very important and fundamental things, the prerequisites. Okay, fine, everything looks good, course content it looks good and concept looks good, WhatsApp group looks good and Google Drive links, everything looks good. But what is fundamental need for this particular course? This particular course, very first thing, who can join this course? So I did not mention here who can join this particular course. There's no restriction. I can say anyone can join this course. Like you are totally new to this database world, or you are already having 1 year of experience, you are already having 10 years of experience, you are already having 15 years of experience. Doesn't matter. Anyone can join this particular course because we are going to start it from the scratch. We will go till advanced level. Right. But for the totally newcomers who don't know any background on IT, for them it's going to be like little challenging because you will not be knowing anything. So you have to do a more practice. You have to watch the recordings. I'm sure that very newcomers who are just entering into this IT world, and for them it's going to be like little challenging. And very first time when you attend the classes, you will not be able to understand. For that, you need to watch the recordings repeatedly, because the moment I explain the concept, you'll not be able to understand it in one shot. And only way to learn is open your mouth and ask the question. Stop me and ask the question, and while explaining itself, I'm happy to answer you. If not, you can watch the recordings again and again and note your questions and post it in our WhatsApp group. And you no need to hesitate whether it's a question simple, silly, complex. Until you don't ask the question, you'll not be able to learn it. That's how I learned. That's how I will suggest everyone to. Until you won't open your mouth, until you won't ask the question, you will never learn. And don't hesitate. Doesn't matter whether it's a simplex, silly question, complex question. Doesn't matter. Just ask it. Ask it. Until ask, you won't learn anything. So for me, I'm happy to answer whatever question it is. If I don't know the answer, I'll directly say I don't know. I can't remember at the moment. I'll go back and refresh myself, and then I'll come back and definitely I'll provide you the answer. That's how, we will learn and we will share our knowledge together and we'll grow together. Right. So this course is for anyone, whether you are a newcomer to this Oracle world or new to this IT world, or having already 1 year experience from the non-IT background, want to jump into this Oracle, and already having 2 years of Oracle DB experience, or 5 years of Oracle DB experience, or 10 years of Oracle DB experience, doesn't matter. Anyone can join this one. This course starts from the scratch. It will go till advanced level, right? And very, very basic things. Again, it is for newcomers. You should aware of basics of Windows knowledge. You should know that Windows, how can I start my Windows, how can I operate my Windows. You don't know that how to open my Windows laptop or desktop, how to type it, how to, you don't know, then will be challenging. So please don't attend this course. You should have your basic Windows knowledge, how to open a Windows, how to start the program, how to install a program in Windows. That is all like mandatory needed. If you don't know, then it will be a little challenging. And the basics of Linux and SQLs are again very much needed. And if you know these basics of Linux and SQLs, you will be able to easily catch up the course. If you don't know basics of Linux and SQLs, don't worry. Whatever needed for the DBAs, as part of this course, whatever needed, the Linux basics and SQL basics, all the queries will be covered. And there are some notes already uploaded, basics of Linux and basics of Linux and SQLs in our Google Drive. And who are new to this DBA world or IT industry, you have to spend some extra time to go over that particular notes and understand the SQL, understand the Linux along with the course, so that you will be able to catch up the things. Otherwise, you will be lagging. So for only those newcomers who are entering into this IT world or entering into this Oracle world, so there are some basics commands I put down. So you have to practice them and then get on top of that along with the course. Right. So if you're already aware of that, it's well and good. You can able to catch up the things very quickly. If not, then you have to first read that, understand that. Anyway, we'll be covering whatever needed for this course. While explaining your daily topics, will be covered those commands and all those things. But you have to practice on that part. You have to practice more on the Linux and SQLs to get on top of the course. Right. And other important aspect is hardware requirement. We will be using a Windows desktop or laptop using Oracle VirtualBox. We are going to use Oracle VirtualBox for a hypervisor to set up a lab. For that, we need a minimum 10 GB RAM on your laptop or the desktop with 100 GB SSD. So that's a minimum requirement. You should have it. Then only you can able to do a lab setup. If not, then you will not be able to do a lab setup. You will be able to just listen about whatever the concept I'm explaining it, whatever demo I'm showing it. But if you don't have this hardware requirement in your laptop or desktop, you will not be able to set up your labs and you will not be able to do hands-on experience. Right. So that is minimum hardware requirement. You should have it. Right.
Well, this video thing, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
If somebody don't have the Windows OS, then can he try with Mac with UTM?
Yeah, Mac is available. Why I'm referring for Windows, and I am giving you predefined labs. If I go to VM Ready Labs, I have a Ready Labs. These labs are compatible with only Windows. So if you are having a Mac, you have to install your own VM,
Yeah.
right? That is the extra part you need to spend some time and then set up your lab.
Are we not building this lab from scratch?
That is only installation. Linux, we are not building it from the scratch. So these are like ready labs. Your
No,
Linux labs.
if we build a Linux lab on our Mac, that would be fine. Na?
Right.
After that, like OS DB installation, we can proceed, right?
Right. That's correct.
And all whatever the configuration is, you will help.
Right. That's where we'll start from the very first chapter. We'll start it from the installation part, right? So setting up the environment and installation part. That is where we need the ready labs, either on the Mac or Windows. Windows, we already have the ready labs. For the Mac, we should or if you need any help, I can assist you on that, how to build the labs on the Mac. We don't have a
Sure.
ready lab for the Mac, but installation part, we'll start it from the zero, from the scratch, the
Over
database
the weekend,
installation.
yeah, over the weekend, we try to build the Linux system. If it is okay, then from Monday, we'll proceed with the DB type part, right?
Right.
Thank you.
All right. Any questions? I'll take a 1 or 2 minutes pause now. Anyone has any questions so far? Because those are the topics I wanted to cover before anyone sign up for this particular course, because I don't want anyone to regret after signing up this course why, and I don't have a minimum hardware here, I don't have a Windows knowledge, and I don't have this, I don't have that. You should not complain or you should not regret. Before you take any decision to proceed further with the course, and read through all these instructions, and if you are okay and willing to learn and proceed further and come us and join, and then I am there to help you, I'm there to guide you for any sort of questions or queries.
Just one question, Mali, not related to hardware, but when we are covering any topic at the end, can we cover the related questions to that topic?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
All right, so if no questions, I can quickly cover 1 or 2 topics for today, and then we'll continue for the tomorrow.
Good morning, Malik. Hello.
Yep.
Yeah, I have one question. My laptop, I have 8 GB RAM. Is it okay?
8 GB RAM, your VM will be slow. You have to adjust with that slow, and then you have to practice with the slowness.
Yeah, it will work, right?
It will
No
work.
issues.
Yes, it will work.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
All right. The payment method, again, for the payment method, you can, some questions on the chat here. They're asking for the payment method. Yeah, you can ping me on my WhatsApp. I pinged in the chat here, or you can get it from this display here, or you can drop me an email. I'll guide you for the further payment process. Can I pay in 2 parts? Girish, you can again ping me on my WhatsApp. Again, I don't entertain this part payment, but yeah, you can ping me on my WhatsApp. We'll discuss on that part. Right. Okay, let's quickly talk on 1 or 2 basics. Like I mentioned here some of the basic topics I wanted to cover: database architecture, database connectivity, standalone, rack, installation types, and other stuffs. But what I'll do now for today, tomorrow I'm going to continue with this one, but for now today, let's understand the general concept. It will be very the basics, but let's understand the general concept. Let's say I'll just say I have a company, like let's say I have a company abc.com. Right, so I have a company abc.com. Let's say wipro.com, infosys.com, tcs.com. Okay, this is a company. So my company has a data center. Let's say in London, I have my data center. In London, I'll be having my own data center. Any organization will be having its own data center in one of the predefined locations, right? It may be London, New Jersey, Washington, DC, or wherever it is. My company, abc.com, has a data center. So I'll just mention data center. Data center in London. Let's say I'll put them here. Right. Where is the cloud? No, okay, let's put them here. Okay, I have my data center in London. So any data center in the London, what all servers you can have it in the data center? I can basically have 2 types of servers. One is a physical server, and then I can have virtual servers. I can have a physical server or the virtual server in any of the data center. I can have physical servers or the virtual server. Physical server in the sense I can physically go to the data center. I'll keep my hardware, whatever that storage, whatever the RAM, whatever the CPU, entire machines like entire Linux machines or the Windows machines. So I can put a physical server on my data center. So again, this may be anything. This physical server, it may be either your Windows or Linux or AX, Windows or Linux or AX or HPUX or Ubuntu or SUSE. There will be so many OS flavor, right? We all should be very much aware about Windows because we use Windows laptop, Windows OS. And in organization, come to enterprise manager or so enterprise business and all, there will be a lot of OS flavors. It may be Windows server, or it may be Linux server, or it may be AX, or it may be anything. So the physical server, if you go and then keep it on data center, it may be your any one of these OS flavors, right? So that is just I'm giving you a brief idea here. The physical server, the virtual server is nothing but you have kept one big huge server over there. Let's say I have kept one huge machine on the data center, and on that data center like huge server, let's say this server has around 100 TB storage or like 1000 TB storage, or you can say 100 GB RAM. I think it is like SSD, let's say SSD, and then I have around 500 CPUs, right? So this is a huge, the physical server, I kept it. So this is the physical server, what I kept, 1000 terabyte storage and 100 GB RAM, or you can make it 1000 GB RAM and 500 CPUs, the huge servers. So on top of this, this is actually physical server, one of the physical hardware. I can say physical hardware. Let's mention physical hardware or physical server. Physical hardware or server, I kept it on the data center, which has a huge capacity. And then on top of this physical hardware, I install something called hypervisor. On top of this physical hardware, we install, or the Linux admin can install hypervisor. He installs some hypervisor. Hypervisor is the tool provided by many vendors, like VMware will provide hypervisor, and NetApp will provide hypervisor, and so many vendors will provide the hypervisor. With the help of hypervisor, I am going to create a VMs. Let's say VM1, VM2, and VM3. So I can create many VMs. Virtual. These are like Linux admin is going to do it. So this is my VM1. So this is my VM1, and this is my VM2, and this is my VM2, VM3. So let's say the name of this is a VM virtual machine. That's a Linux server. Let's say Oracle Lab1 dot local or Oracle dot lab1 dot abc.com. This is my lab1, and this is my second one, lab2 abc.com, and then the third one is here. Right, these are my server, Oracle lab1.abc.com, Oracle lab2.abc.com, Oracle lab3.abc.com. These are like virtual machines. And these VM1, VM2, VM3, how much RAM, CPUs, and available, I can assign out of this one. While creation of this VM1, okay, it has total physical server has 1000 terabyte. I can give 100 out of the 1000 terabyte. I can give 100 GB RAM, and then I can give 100 GB RAM here, and then this SSD, and then I can assign 10 CPUs. Right, whatever I want based upon my configuration, the Linux admin will assign. Out of this 1000 terabyte, 100 GB storage, and out of this 1000 GB RAM, 100 GB RAM, out of this 500 GB CPU and 500 CPU, 10 CPU I'll allocate for this one. Similarly for lab 2, lab 3, whatever my requirement, the Linux admin will assign, and the VMs are ready. These are like virtual machines. They all will be available in your data center. Or the servers may be physical or virtual. So as a DBA, for us, it doesn't matter whether a server is a physical server, physically they kept the server on the data center, or the server is virtual server coming from one of the physical hardware. They kept it on the data center. With the help of hypervisor, they divided those hardware and created the VM. They will just create the servers, either physical server or the virtual machines. They will provide for a DBS Oracle lab1 dot local or abc.com. They will give this IP address or the host name. So this host name will be having IP address 192.168.1.101. So this host name will be having the IP addresses. Let's say Oracle Lab 1, Oracle Lab 2, Oracle Lab 3. These are the VMs. 101, 102, and 103. And then let's say they kept 1 or 2 physical server. Let's say they kept 1 physical server here. And then that physical server also, let's say Oracle Lab 3, Lab 4, lab4.abc.com. So that is Linux admin job, who is going to do all this, the provisioning or creation of these VMs 192.168.1.104. So his job is to create either a physical server or create your virtual machines and then provide it to us. So this is the physical server here, and this is referring to this physical server. So as a DBA, for me, doesn't matter whether it's a physical server. It's supposed to be lab 4 here. It's lab 4. 192.168.1.104. And then this is my physical server here. Right. The server in the data center may be physical or maybe virtual server. Again, virtual server, how they're coming? They are coming using with help of this hypervisor, maybe VMware or NetApp or any hypervisor. Whatever the physical hardware they had it in the data center, they divided that hardware and then created small virtual machines. And those will act as a servers. Or you can directly keep the physical server and give that IP address and host name to the DBS. So Linux admin will prepare this data center, and then he will provide this host names and the IP addresses. Along with that, he is going to create the users. So inside that one, for this server, either physical server or these virtual machines, he is going to create, okay, Malik is a user. He's going to create Malik is a user. And even in VM, he's going to create Malik user and Malik password. So that is a Linux admin who is going to do the job. The Linux admin is going to create lab1, whatever the IP address, 192.168.1.101. Let's say my virtual machine 1, and then I can say my physical machine. Lab 4 is a physical machine. So he created one virtual machine and one physical machine, and then he given IP address and the host name. And also he will create a username. Inside this lab 1, he'll create user and his password. Then as a DBA, I got my username and password, and I got the server IP addresses. I need to connect to that VM because I cannot go to data center in order to access this physical machine. In order to access these VMs, I need to go to London data center, go inside the data center and connect to this physical machines and operate, log into that machine and then operate it. And then go to this data center again, connect to this VMs and then operate it. So we cannot go to the data center and then operate them. So we have something called remote access. We are going to remotely access these either VMs or physical machines, and then we are going to connect remotely. So that is called your remote connectivity. So remote connectivity. So how we are going to connect remotely? Like, we have, I mentioned these many servers, right? These VMs, right? Whatever this VM 1, 2, 3, and this physical server, it may be anything: Windows, Linux, AX, HP, UX, or Ubuntu, SUSE, any flavor, any OS. So we have two methods of connectivity: Windows or Linux or AX or HP UX or Ubuntu or SUSE. So Windows is one way of remote connectivity, and rest other the Linux flavor or Unix flavor or other way of connectivity. For Windows, we use something called RDP, remote desktop connection. For Linux, AX, and other things, we connect either terminal. We say terminal session for this one, we say RDP session here. So for Windows server, let's say this is my Windows server. I want to connect to this server. I can go to Windows, I say RDP, here remote desktop connection, and then I can, the remote desktop connection, I can give that IP address, or I can give that host name, whatever Linux admin has given, and then I can connect. Right now that server does not exist. It will not say remote desktop cannot be located. It's not there. So that is one way, like, we use Windows server, use something called RDP session. If it's a Linux, AX, HPUX, Ubuntu, SUSE, any of those servers, we use a terminal session. Terminal session with the help of, let's say, remove it with the help of, we say widely popularly used PuTTY session or mobile xterm. Right, we use PuTTY session or mobile xterm to take a Linux or Unix server remotely, even though that server is on remote data center. To access that, we use a terminal session using a PuTTY software or mobile xterm software, widely used one. If it's a Windows server, we use a built-in RDP, remote desktop connection. Using RDP session, I can give that whatever the IP address, and then I can connect with that one. Right. So that is just a connectivity. And for now, we are not covering Windows. We'll be working on only Linux part. And in this Linux part, we're going to use either PuTTY or mobile xterm. So if I say my mobile xterm here, this is mobile xterm software here. So whatever you're seeing here, this is my mobile xterm. So if I want to take a PuTTY session, I'll go PuTTY session or mobile xterm, the remotely. So I'll click on this session, SSH session. I can give either host name or IP address. Like I can give one of the IP address. Right. The moment I give IP address and enter, it'll ask me to enter the username. Enter the username. Like again, username is again provided by your Linux admin. And then you can give username. I'm going to use username, and then you're gonna connect to that server. And so that is your remote connections. Any server which is under data center, we will access it via remote connections. So once you access with the remote connections, now we got the access on the server here. We connected to server, and then our DBA job will start now. What you want to do once you get access on the server? So the remote connectivity done. Once we remotely connect, either Windows server or Linux server, doesn't matter, connect that. Once you connect, and DBA work starts. So DBA work starts. What we do once we get access on the server, we'll start with the installation. We'll start with the database installation first. We'll start with the installation. That's a DB installation. Right? We'll create a database. Once we create a database, and then inside the database, we will create users and passwords. What we do this thing, same process. The Linux admin created the Linux servers, and then inside that he created the users, and then he given that Linux IP address and the host name, and then he given that username and password. And then we connected remotely, either RDP or putty session, we connected. And once we connect to that server, our DBA work starts. We will start with the database installation. We will install the database. And once the database is installed, and then we will create the users inside that. And then we will share DB details and users details to application team. And application team will use those database details and the user details, whatever we said, and they will connect to my database and they will access it. So that is how it works. Let's say if I illustrate one more time, let's say here. So I'll take this one VM here. If I take this one VM here now, if I take this VM alone here, and Linux admin has created this VM, Oracle lab1.localdomain.com. Right, this is one of the lab, VM lab. Linux admin created the VM, and he given a credential. He given a credential like he created a Malik user and Malik password, and then he created a root user and then the root password. He created the Oracle user, and then he created Oracle password. He created many of these users, and then he given the user and the host details to me. I'm a DBA, and then my job is I log into this server. Now my job is I'm going to log into this server. Let's say I'm logging to this server. Once I log in, I'm going to create a database inside this one. I'm going to create my Oracle database inside this one. Once I log in with this Oracle user or Malik user, I'm going to create a database called a DevDB. So DevDB database got created here. So once I create a DevDB database, let's say here I already created my database. All right, so this is my DevDB. Give me a second. Right, so DevDB database is ready here. So once I create this DevDB database, and inside that, I'm going to create app 1 and app 1, application 1 password, application 1 user. And then app 2 slash app 2, application 2 user, 2 users, application 1 and application 2, 2 users I'm creating inside my database. And then I'm going to share this application username and application password and the database details to my application team. So let's say here, to quickly demonstrate that one, let's assuming that I have created this database. I got this Oracle Lab 1 from my Linux admin, and along with that, I got the credentials. I logged into this server, and once I logged into this server, I created my database. And now I'm going to connect to the database because it's my database. I created it. So as a DBA, I'll be having a full access on this database. I can connect using SQL Plus DBA. What is this SQL Plus and all we'll cover in our regular classes. So I can connect to my database. I connected to my DB. I'm gonna create user, whatever this inside database, as I mentioned here, right? I'm gonna create this app 1, app 2, all the users, application users. Create user app 1 identified by app 1 and grant create session to app 1. Some resource I'm giving, grant resource to app 1, right? So I created this app 1 and app 1 on the database user. So start database installation. What we did here, we created database DB, and then inside the database, we created a user called app1 and the password for that app1. And then we will share the DB details and the user details to my application team. So I'll share this app1 is your application username. I like, for example, a finance application or HR application or any application they wanted to connect to this database. So app1 is the username and app1 is the password, and there resides under DB database. And then this DB database running under this host or this Oracle Lab 1. This DB database is running under this host or this IP address here. So I'm going to share these details to my application team. My application team or the developers, they can connect using any of their application, right? They may be using word popularly or SQL developer. I don't know whether I have SQL developer. Let's quickly check that one. Any questions so far?
Hi Malik, whether the DBA will use SQL developer tool or PLSQL developer tool?
We basically connect command line most commonly. Even you can use SQL developer or Toad or OEM, doesn't matter. But most familiarly, we use SQL command line. Right.
So
Malik, I have. Can I?
Yeah, give me a second, right? I'll quickly finish this one. We share this application user, whatever we created inside database and database details, and that database is running under this server. We shared all the details, and along with that, we have something called a TNS or the listener. We have other concept called listeners and TNS. We will talk on that in a separate chapter once we start our actual classes. LSNR status, listener we say, and it says your DB listener up and running, and which is running under 1521. This is the port, and which has a protocol called, let's say here, cat. So this is a port and which has a protocol, a TCP. So these two extra details we're gonna share it. That is, we call it as a something called it as a TNS connection string. Again, we will discuss in our regular classes what is this TNS connection string and all. But for now, to make it simplicity, I'm just 1521. I'm just telling that once we create a database and inside database, once we create that username and password, and we will share that database details and username and password. Along with that, this TCP connections and the port details will give it to application, and the application team or the developers, they use something called SQL developer or the Toad or OEM or whatever their application. It may be finance application or some custom Java application or whatever application they use. They use this application and they will connect. Like how they will connect. I'll just say test connection, and whatever the user, that is the app1 and whatever the password app1 and where it is running. It's running under like IP address or the host name and port, which port is running. I just given that port 1521 and give that 1521. And what is the SID and what is the service name? It's a DBDB. That's the database name. You can give either service name or you can give SID, DBDB, and then do a test connection. Right, it says success and then connect. So now what happened? So your connection is established here. So as a DBA, this particular lab1 server is under my London data center, one of the virtual machine. What we do as a DBA, we connect to server, and from the server, we will connect to database and we will manage our database, whether database is up and running or not, whether database is healthy or not, and is there any new user I need to create inside database, and whatever the created user is valid user or not. And once our DBA jobs are done, this user's details, we will share it to application team. And application team, they use something, their application end. That application end may be whatever it is, your SQL developer, or it may be Toad, or it may be OEM, or it may be any of the Java application, or it may be any of the .NET, or any application, finance application, whatever application. With the help of this front-end application and with the help of this application users, they will directly connect to our database and they will insert the records. They will create a table and they will do whatever the transaction they want. And then once they do the transactions, and then again as a DBA, we will connect to that server, Linux server, and then we'll make sure that our database is working fine. All the transactions are happening perfectly fine inside my database. That is our backend DBA job, and application team, they're doing their whatever the business from the front end application side. And then Linux admin job at the back end is going to provision the servers based upon our request, how much RAM I want, how much CPU, how much memory I want it. That's the Linux admin backend who will take care of that. All right. Any questions so far?
Yeah, Malik, I have one small query. So in terms of like Windows, when we go for other database like RDBMS SQL Server, we have two types of logins. One is Windows level logins and one is SQL level logins. So the same
Right.
in Oracle, in Linux, do we have something like Active Directory level logins and DB logins the way you have just shown us? Like,
No,
we have only one type.
we pretty much for DBAs, it's only one login. We will log in with SQL plus SSDBA. Whatever I'm connecting here, we will log in with the only one type of connection, and pretty much 99% industry, they're going to use only single way of login here. And there are integration. You can integrate your AD, or you can integrate your LDAP authentication. You can integrate your AD authentication. You can integrate your Kerberos authentication, and their OIM. There's so many other integration. That's a third party software. That's an extra license. You have to get it and you have to integrate it. Then only the AD authentication also can work with the database. Otherwise, it is
Thank
not
you.
possible.
Okay, got it.
Right. Right now, test one, app user, he connected, show user, and then app one. So pretty much the application user can connect from application side to access my database. And then rather than connecting to the server, correct, rather than application user, why he want to connect to Linux server? He don't need a Linux access. Because of that, we directly create that application users inside my database, and we'll give these details to application developers, and developer, they can directly connect to my database and they'll do their transactions. And then as a DBA, I need to manage my database. So I need this login access on the server, and the Linux admin will create all those login access. Once he provision the server, he will create all those login credentials and all, then we'll proceed further. All right. That is for a DBA, the installation. And after that, we're going to create a user. And again, once we do installation, once we create a user, and we'll say that one, this is not the only DBA job. After that, we need to manage this particular database, maintain this particular database, to take a backup of this database. And right now I'm talking about only one database. And tomorrow, new application is coming, and they are asking, can you create a new database, like test database? Can you create a test database similar to that dev database? They will send a request. Can you create a test database similar to dev database? You need to take a backup of this and then clone similar to that one, create a test database. And that is all your backups and restores. Right now we created app one, and then later they will say, can you create app two user? And then assign all the privileges, whatever this app one has, how much privileges, same privileges, whatever this app one has, same privileges you can apply it on app two. Again, we need to do that one. So these are like keep on our day-to-day activities. And then this guy, whatever application user now connected here, he's doing some query or some transaction. Those queries are slow. And then again, we'll get a request from application team. My queries are slow, and then unable to connect. And then to demonstrate that one, let's disconnect and then try connect back. And then now here I can say I'll give a wrong password and then try to connect, and then it's gonna fail, and then again they're gonna come back. So they're gonna take this screenshot, invalid username and password, and then they will again reach out to DBS. How can I do that one? And then sometimes what they will do, they'll use a test2 and then app one, and then they're using a correct password this time, but they're going to use a wrong port here, 1522 instead of 1521. It should be 1521. They're going to use a wrong port, and then when they use the wrong port, and then application team is trying to connect, and then they try to connect, and again they will face the error message, listener does not know any services, and then TNS adapter does not know any connection. They will send this screenshot or this error message, and then based upon that, we were gonna try to troubleshoot further. And this time they're gonna give the correct port, and then they're gonna give the different service name, and then try to connect. And then it says test failed, listener refused this connection, and then Vara 1512514, the identified does not currently known by your services. Right, so these are like messages they're going to send it out, and then we as a DBA identify what exactly that error and what mistake they're doing it, and we will revert them back. Right, that is our actual day-to-day activities. This is not that simple as what I mentioned here. 3 steps: create a database and create a users and share with application team. That is just a basics. Once that is done, we have to maintain that, manage that, and provide a better performance for any queries runs inside my database, and then take a regular backup and regularly do a RMN cloning. And once this is become production, I need to set up a DR for that, and so many other stuffs will continue. The job will be keep on adding, our task will be keep on adding. Great. So with that, I'll take a pause now. We will continue tomorrow in this momentum, and we'll continue. Now we'll understand. Right now we understand how, as a DBA, how we basically manage it from the starting with the creation of a database. And once we create it, and we'll share the credentials. And once we create the database, now this course will start from here. Once the database is created, we'll understand that architecture. What is the database? And what are this architecture works? Right now, I just mentioned here PSF and EF grep. SMON, it says SMON DevDB. What is this SMON? If I do process list for my DevDB, there's so many background processes: SMON, PMON, DBWriter, LogWriter, checkpointer. What are these background processes? All those things we will try to understand in our tomorrow's class. We'll continue with that tomorrow class, and we'll start with that one, the architecture part. And this is what I just explained. And this is our actual server. This is our actual server, lab 1. In simple words, this is our lab 1. And inside lab 1, this is our actual database. This is our DB. And then for DB, we created this apps1 user. Inside that, we created apps1 user and followed by apps1 password. And then we given it application user. The application user client, he connected to my database. And once he connected to my database, he is going to process that all the transactions. And then how the transactions are going to process, there will be bunch of background process that we're going to talk about in tomorrow's sessions. And that is our instance and background processes. Whatever this background process, what I listed out here, this bunch of them, these are background processes. Right, and then bunch of that background processes, bunch of memory component, and bunch of backend structure, that basically backend storage, data file, redo log file, control files, so many things. We're going to talk about them. Right, that is a core architecture part. We're going to continue to understand, and then we'll go further into deep dive in that. And then I just mentioned only one thing here, the inflation part, right? Like, let's go back here. I just mentioned DBA work start from here. We start with the inflation. What are that inflation? So if I go here, this is our database inflation type. How we can install it? We can install standalone or single instance or Oracle restart or Oracle rack or Oracle rack 1 node. And then what are the different types? All those things. The inflation itself is going to use whether you're going with a single node or Oracle restart or ASM storage or SAN storage or your ASM storage, or whether it's a rack database, and whether you're going with the silent mode or the GUI mode, that itself is huge task, installation part itself. And that is done, then the maintenance is with a different task. All right. So any questions, guys, like before we stop it for today, and then we'll continue further on the demo 2 with the further architecture part. But for now, in overall picture, in real-time IT world, how the Linux servers or the Windows server provision happens. It's all Linux admin job. Who is going to provision, who is going to install those Linux server? It may be physical or the virtual one. He will make it ready and then he will give it to us. Once he will give it to us, as a DBA, I'll proceed further with installation. Installation again has a lot of things. We will do all those installation steps. When the installation is done, and then we will create the users, we'll give it to application team, followed by we will manage those databases. Maybe backup, maybe maintenance, maybe administration, anything. And that is our overall architecture at high level, how that real-time IT industry works. All right. Yep.
So is it based on a entire apps DBA or it is for core DBA? So
it's only core DBA.
It's only for core DBA because we do have seen a lot of jobs for apps DBA as well. So
Right.
will it be useful for us to look at apps?
That
DBA
is
as well?
after core DBA and after rack, you have to look for your app DBA. In app DBA, there are multiple paths. Like, app DBA is for what? You're going for EBS, OBI, PeopleSoft. App DBA itself, you can take a particular path. If you're looking for EBS particular field, you can go for EBS app DBA. If you're looking for OBI, you can go for OBI app DBA and PeopleSoft app DBA. So you have to go for particular path in that. That is after completion of your database and the rack, and then choose for your apps.
Okay. What about that Oracle automation database, which was OCI?
That is OCI, Oracle Cloud. That is
Yes.
again different path. If you, the very beginning, I already talked on this one, right? Our core fundamental should be our database and the rack. You should understand and learn and go in-depth knowledge under a database and rack. Once you strong on that field, you choose whatever path you want. You want to go for apps DBA, go for EBS, OBI, PeopleSoft, so many other application side. Or you want to go for OCI, you can go for Oracle Cloud. In that Oracle Cloud, you'll get a lot of things. In Oracle Cloud, you can get it Oracle Autonomous Database, and you can get it Oracle OCI Cloud as a database as a service, and you become Oracle Cloud Administrator or Oracle Cloud Associate or whatever role you want it. So that is your other path. You can go it as a cloud side. Or if you don't want to go on the cloud side, you can go for the Exadata engineering system side. Engineering systems, as I said, we have Exadata, we have Exalogic, we have supercluster. Once you learn this one database and rack, you can choose for these engineering systems, Exadata, supercluster, or Exalogic, so many other stuffs. You can choose that path.
Thanks, Manoj. Thanks.
All right, let's take a pause now. If no questions, we'll stop it and we'll continue tomorrow. We'll continue further from the architecture part, and then we'll start with the core basics, and then we'll stop our demo by tomorrow. Thank you. Thanks all. Bye-bye.
Yeah, hi Malik.
Yep.
When it comes to data guard, you're going to cover DR installation as well, right?
Right.
Yeah.
DR
In fact,
installation, switchover, failover, and there's a gap between primary and standby, how you can make it sync on those.
okay. So when it comes to real-time scenario, so how it will be the shutdown and the startup sequence? Like so, the application needs to bring down right before
Right.
DB shutdown.
Right.
And both WebLogic and application are one and the same, or they are different?
WebLogic is different and application is different. So we basically in real-time world, we have a 3-tier architecture. Let's quickly share my screen here. We have a 3-tier architecture in any of the industry. We have front end, that is called client or web or mobile or presentation layer. So this may be anything. Customer may be accessing from the URL or mobile or desktop. And once they access it, the request will go to application server. So this application server, it depends upon which application server you are talking about. If you're talking about EBS, and in EBS, we have application server as well as WebLogic inside one single server. Or while installation of EBS itself, we have an option. You want to install application server as well as WebLogic server in 2 different servers. Let's go ahead and then install it on 2 different servers. So it doesn't matter whether your request will go to WebLogic server or whether it go to application server. That's the application side connectivity. Application will handle that connectivity. And whether it go to application server followed by WebLogic or WebLogic followed by application server, it doesn't matter. It's totally out of the DBA scope. We'll never worry about that. And then, as I said, application server and WebLogic server can run on the same server, or while deploying the application, you can deploy it in 2 different servers. And then some application may be using web servers, and some application may be using Apache, some application may be using Tomcat. There may be different WebLogics or different application server. So that is totally out of the DBA scope, will never come into our scope. And once that application connectivity part is handled, and then the request will go to database side. Database side is our part. That's a backend tier or database tier or data management tier. That's the backend side. We handle it here. We never worry about this. We never worry about this. All right. All right, guys, let's stop it now. If no questions, let's connect tomorrow and continue further on that architecture part. Thank you.
Malik, just think about the timing.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you all. Bye.